Hitting the driver hard and hitting a nice golf shot is super important for our enjoyment and also our score. If we're in the hole each time with a decent tee shot, we're off and running. But if you're feeling like you're trying your best to hit these drives well, but all you ever get is a very low ball flight, a ball that might roll too far but doesn't necessarily fly far enough and certainly doesn't carry over hazards, that low ball flight could be scuppering your chances of playing good golf. So if we consider, well, why does the ball fly low with the driver? There's a couple of different variables here. The first thing might simply be that you're not hitting the ball in the correct location on the club face. Certainly if you're hitting the ball low down in the club face, you're not going to have as much loft at that part of the club. You might be feeling like you're almost topping the ball and it comes out super low and doesn't really climb into the sky. That would be point one, is let's make sure we know where we're locating the strike. So give the club face a nice clean and see whether you can see on the club face, or get yourself some impact detect spray on the club face, see whereabouts the location is, and then you'll be able to identify whether you're high enough or low enough. Now, if you're striking it in the right part of the club and it's still going low, then we've got some other considerations. One might be, is there enough loft on the club face? If you buy a golf club and it has a very little amount of loft on it, you might always be struggling to get the ball in the air. I'd consider that a lot of golfers, club golfers, probably have too little loft on their driver in the mistaken feeling that they want to hit the ball low and far, but actually high and floaty is what we see with the world's best players. So make sure there's enough loft on the club face. Go and get a fitting for the driver if you need one. Make sure there's enough flex in the shaft. Traditionally, a shaft that is too stiff is going to hit the ball very low. It's not going to have enough kick through the impact area. If your swing speed isn't fast enough, you will hit a lot of low drivers that just don't rise up into the sky. The other consideration would be how you can affect that, whether you can change the ball position and whether you can change the angle of attack. If I have a golf ball that's too far back in my stance, played more from the center of my stance, probably going to see the shaft starting to lean a bit too far forwards at the setup point, and certainly at impact I'm going to have the shaft in a forwards position, taking loft off the club face and hitting it very low. So if I was to deliberately hit one down here, I would play the ball middle of my stance, take my body weight more onto my left side and try and hit a low one. And you can see that one runs in there, barely gets above knee height and takes out the 150-yard marker, which is all it carried to. So it was a decent strike, it hit the middle of the club face, but I'd just taken all 10 degrees of loft, shut the shaft down by 10 degrees, ball flight came out at sort of 1 degree, 0 degrees, and did not fly particularly well. Now if I was to change my approach here, I can change my ball position, move it more forwards, I can change my body position and move it more backwards, feel like I'm adding a little bit of loft to the shaft, so I'm more here rather than here. From this position, if I go ahead and make the same swing, you'll see the ball flight change. So that ball flight super high, launched at 10, 11 degrees, carry, and doesn't come down till then. And when that ball came down, it was a lot further than the 150-yard marker, as you can imagine. So utilizing a good strike, a good golf club with nice loft, plenty of shaft flex, and a good impact and setup position rather than having the ball too far back should help encourage you to reduce those low driver ball flights.